Hello, welcome to the weekly highlights program on Azərbaycan Televiziya with the major developments of the week. I am your host, İlham Aliyev. Now first, let's take a brief look at some of the top stories of this week. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham Aliyev, was interviewed by the Italian Rai 1 TV channel. On October 27th, the Armenian armed forces targeted with artillery fire Karayusufli village of Barda district from different directions. As a result of this, 4 people were killed and 13 were wounded. On October 26, President Ilham Aliyev addressed the Azerbaijani people. Noting that the Second Karabakh War has been going on for almost a month now, and this was a patriotic war, President Ilham Aliyev said that the glorious Azerbaijani army liberated many settlements from the enemy. We are restoring historical justice on the battlefield because Nagorno-Karabakh is historically the Azerbaijani land. President Ilham Aliyev listed with specific facts the non-constructive position of some organizations in connection with the conflict. He said that as a result of consistent activity in recent years, we were able to sufficiently inform the world community about the history of Karabakh, about the history of the conflict, and today this work helps us. The other noted specific facts in connection with the historical belonging of Karabakh to Azerbaijan, said that Armenians were resettled to the lands of our ancestors. The goal was clear, to change the religious composition in the new territories of the empire, expel Muslims from their native lands, expel and create a new reality. Speaking about the date of the beginning of the conflict, the head noted that the Armenians understood well that the great authority of the great leader Heydar Aliyev and the Soviet leadership broke all their plans. It was after the departure of the nationwide leader from all posts that the Armenian separatists revolted almost 2 weeks later. In his address, President Ilham Aliyev spoke about the creation of the Minsk Group, the legal settlement of Armenia in the occupied lands, the arming of Armenia, stressing that the factor of power has come to the forefront in the world over the past few years. The other noted that the mediators must be neutral. If they are not neutral, then they cannot be mediators. President Ilham Aliyev said that we are not against negotiations. We want to have meaningful negotiations that will speed up the resolution of the conflict. As for the future of the Armenians who were resettled in the lands of our ancestors 200 years ago, I said that they also are our citizens. They should also get rid of this junta, the other said, and added that no force will turn us from our past. President Ilham Aliyev spoke about the successes achieved on the battlefield, made public part of the list of destroyed and taken as trophies of Armenia's military equipment. Then, President Ilham Aliyev announced the liberation from occupation of several villages of Zangilan, Cebrail and Gubadli regions, and the city of Gubadli. We liberate these lands at the expense of the life and blood of our soldiers and officers, said the head of state, and noted that we will drive the enemy from our territories to the end. Karabakh is ours, Karabakh is Azerbaijan. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, was interviewed by the Italian Rai 1 TV channel. President Ilham Aliyev noted that the enforcement of the new ceasefire will depend on how Armenia will behave because the first 2 ceasefires were broken by Armenia. The other stressed that as a result of the brutal violation of the ceasefire at nighttime, the occupiers launched ballistic rockets at Ganja, killing and wounding many people. In response to the question what actually caused you to launch military operations, the other said that this had to do with the progress of political and military events. The main cause was that Armenia tried to disrupt the negotiation process by all means. President Ilham Aliyev said that Pashinyan completely disrupted the negotiation process. He accentuated that over the last year, practically there were no negotiations held in Armenia in order to blame us for this tried acts of sabotage for 3 times. In July on the border, in August sabotage group was sent, and in September where peaceful cities were targeted. They probably thought we will be patient this time, but this was not the case. We responded to them as such. They are regretting now, said President Ilham Aliyev. The other noted that Armenia must publicly declare that they accept the basic principles and then we can quickly come to the agreement. President Ilham Aliyev once more time noted that our regular army has 100,000 servicemen and the involvement of mercenaries on our side was not true, and the deployment of Turkish troops to the military operations was also a lie. There is no proof to that. Talking about the role of Italy in the settlement of the conflict, the head noted that we see the future of Karabakh as the prosperous and peaceful territory inhabited by Azerbaijanis who will have to return there, and the Armenians currently living there who will be peacefully coexisting together side by side. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, was interviewed by Russian Interfax agency.
The Azerbaijani army has proven its superiority on the battlefield. President Ilham Aliyev said this in his interview to Russia's Interfax agency. The head of state said Füzuli, Jabrail, Zengilan, Qubadlı towns, as part of Xocavend region, have been liberated, and Azerbaijan wants the conflict resolution to switch from the military stage to the political stage, in case the Armenian side undertakes commitment to withdraw its troops from the rest of the occupied territories. This includes a part of Agdam region, the entire Lachin region, and a part of Kelbecer region, said the head of state, adding that it coincides with the basic principles. Characterizing the position of Armenian Prime Minister, who has made contradictory statements over the recent days, President Ilham Aliyev said, "He is indeed in a miserable situation." Touching on the activity of the Minsk Group co-chairs, President of Azerbaijan has said that Minsk Group has not proven itself in terms of efficiency. Of course, numerous questions emerged due to the fact that the Minsk Group co-chairs, being the 3 permanent members of the UN Security Council, 3 nuclear states, failed to exert pressure on Armenia. The head of state has said it will be in favor of the region if Turkey and Russia unite their efforts, and this will be able to accelerate political resolution of Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. President Ilham Aliyev noted that the conflict would have been solved even if sanctions had been imposed on Armenia, but there was no political will or intention to impose sanctions. The head of state has reiterated that there will never be a referendum in the internationally recognized territories of Azerbaijan, and independence of Nagorno-Karabakh will never be recognized. Even Armenians themselves do not recognize it. Recognition of Nagorno-Karabakh's independence by any country will result in the disruption of diplomatic relations with that country. As regards to Armenian Prime Minister's wish to have peacekeepers in the conflict zone, President Ilham Aliyev said that is not his business. When speaking of the conflict zone, Azerbaijan's territory is meant, and Azerbaijan must have a decisive way, though these issues have not been discussed widely. Asked about the casualties, President Ilham Aliyev said it will be made public after the war is over, and underlined that our casualties are minimal compared to those of Armenia's. Unmanned aviation is an important factor of our combat capability, said President Ilham Aliyev, underlining that the current war experience will be useful for a number of countries planning future activity on military build-up, and even for Azerbaijan itself. In his interview, the head of state says that Armenia has not accepted the bodies of the Armenian servicemen killed in the battles, so the Armenian side has been informed about it many times, they reject it. Speaking about the prospects of restoration in the liberated territories, President Ilham Aliyev said, "We have already changed the geopolitical situation of the region in a number of issues, and numerous stereotypes are already left behind."
On September 28, President Ilham Aliyev received the visiting delegation led by Special Envoy of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Said Abbas Arakchi.
Greeting the Special Envoy of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Said Abbas Arakchi, the head of state said that war was going on for a month and Azerbaijan was liberating the lands from the occupiers and restoring historical justice. Referring to several villages liberated, but saying that our civilians were targeted by the attacks of Armenia, and several hours ago several rockets were launched at Berde, and as a result of this 21 people were killed and more than 70 people were wounded. The head of state added that on October 27th they launched another attack on Berde, which claims the lives of 4 people, including one 7-year-old girl. Saying that Armenia was responsible for the violation of all the 3 ceasefire announced, President Ilham Aliyev noted that all our cities and villages liberated from the occupation were destroyed, as if the savage tribe inhabited these lands. Our mosques were destroyed and desecrated by the Armenians. They kept pigs and almost destroyed mosque in Zengilan district. Recalling with satisfaction that Azerbaijan-Iran state border was completely restored and extending his congratulations on this occasion to Azerbaijanis and Iranis, the President added that he had given instructions to the State Border Service to establish all the security infrastructure along the border. Please extend my gratitude to President Rouhani. During this period he called me. We had a very good conversation, and Iran-Azerbaijani ties are developing rapidly over the last year. All the signed documents and reached agreements are implemented. I am sure that our ties, built on the historical roots, will continue to develop in the future. Welcome again, said President Ilham Aliyev. Expressing his gratitude for receiving him, Special Envoy of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Said Abbas Arakchi extended condolences to the Azerbaijani people and Azerbaijani state for the people who lost their lives as a result of the rocket attack to Berde city. saying that from the very first day, Islamic Republic of Iran supported the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, the guest extending his congratulations on the occasion of victories claimed by the Azerbaijani army on the battlefield and liberation of some of the occupied territories. I also convey to you the warm regards of President of Iran, Hassan Rouhani, said Sayyid Abbas Araghchi.
This week, President Ilham Aliyev was interviewed by Germany's ARD TV channel. Speaking about another military provocation committed by Armenia against Azerbaijan on September 27th, President Ilham Aliyev said numerous civilians were killed and wounded as a result of the attack, underlined that the aggressors also committed a provocation against us in 2016. Asked how long the war will last, the head of state said it depends on Armenia. Armenia violated the 3 ceasefires and attacked our peaceful cities with ballistic missiles. We will answer them on the battlefield. We do not attack cities and civilians, said President Ilham Aliyev, adding that we should defend ourselves, and the more we are defended, the more territories we liberate. The head of state spoke about the biased attitude of the Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch towards Azerbaijan, said those organizations closed eyes on the fact of violation of human rights in Armenia. We have modern weapons and we demonstrate them on the battlefield, said President Ilham Aliyev, and underlined that we liberate territories with the Azerbaijani servicemen, not with bombs. The head of state said Armenians installed engineering constructions in the occupied territories. It means that they were not planning to leave those territories. To the question, what influence do you want to have there in the autonomous region, President Ilham Aliyev said, we have not agreed on any autonomous region. When we proposed it, Armenians rejected. They demanded the independence, which we did not agree to. Now the realities on the ground have changed. We have stated many times that there are realities and you should take them into account. Okay, we have changed the realities. Now they have to take them into account. In his interview, the head of state said Armenians were brought to the region at the beginning of the 19th century after the peace agreement between Karabakh Khanate and the Russian Empire. President Ilham Aliyev said we were subjected to ethnic cleansing when Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 adjacent regions were occupied. Speaking about the activity of the Minsk group, the head of state said they did not implement their mandate in line with the decision of the OSCE. They should have forced Armenia. I think each of those countries unilaterally can send a message to Armenia so that they will have to listen to it. But they did not do it, President Ilham Aliyev emphasized. The other spoke about the political reforms carried out in our country, drew attention to the achievements in economy. On October 27th, the Armenian armed forces targeted with artillery fire Qarayusufli village of Barda district from different directions. As a result of this, 4 people were killed, including 7-year-old Iskandar Vaysu, and 13 were wounded. The rocket missile fired at Barda district most likely had cumulative elements. As a result of this explosion, 3 people were wounded, including 2 children. And here's another place hit by the rocket. According to the initial estimates, 4 people were killed, more than 10 are wounded, and unfortunately, the majority of the wounded are children. Another rocket hit this house. The owners of the house, husband and wife, were killed, and their children are wounded. These are the people who have become victims of this act of terror. The enemy is not giving up on its bloody tactics. This time, the peaceful civilians were targeted. On October 28th, at about 1 p.m., the military units of the enemy shelled the part of Barda city densely populated with peaceful civilians with cluster bombs. According to the information of the General Prosecutor Office, 21 people were killed, more than 70 were wounded. A lot of damage was inflicted upon the civilian infrastructure and means of transportation in the city.
Bombs were fired in almost all directions of the city, specifically targeting people's homes. Many civilians were killed and cars were damaged. People who were standing here lost their lives. A truly horrific act of terror took place. The world should not remain silent.
Və dünya buna cavab verməlidir, susmamalıdır. Çox. Onun kadrını vur. Onu...
Majority of the injured are at the reanimation and intensive care department.
That was all for the week. Thank you for watching us and stay tuned not to miss the next edition of our program.